So, as you know, one thing that we say in unity, wherever we are, God is. And this is where we are right now. Coming to you from my little music room in St. Pete, Florida. I am Rebecca, and I am sharing an original song with you guys this morning. It's called It's Always Love. Whatever the question, the answer is always love. So I hope you enjoy. Yeah, yeah. What can bring wars to an end? Changing enemies into friends. What's the cure for all the pain? What's the only remedy for hate? What can break the chains of fear? What can dry a billion tears? What lifts us up when we are down? What does the world need more of now? Oh, love, whatever the question, without exception, every test, every lesson, love, whatever the question, without exception, every test, every lesson, love, love, and there's always been love, only love. What can drive out the dark? What can heal a billion broken hearts? What can mend a wounded soul and restore our hearts and minds with hope? What's the answer to every problem you struggle with? Oh, I promise you, everything is love, or teaching you how to bring love to it all. No matter the question, without exception, every test, every lesson, love, no matter the question, without exception, every test, every lesson, love, oh love, we've tried everything else, but the world still cries out for help. We tried everything else, but here we try some. No matter what, all of us above, like God loves, and it always was love. It's always 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 love. No matter the question, without exception, whatever the question, every lesson, always love. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you to Rebecca Hopper for sharing your music with us today. It's an honor to be with you, and I'm doing something different. I actually got up this morning and felt absolutely compelled. Let me move this microphone a little bit to do this, and I had something else planned. I was really just working with what was happening in my own soul, and it got turned around. So I am coming fresh out of my own time of meditation and contemplation, and I'm sort of setting this up here last minute to get out of me what is coming to me and for me personally, and I need you to know this, like what I'm experiencing right now, what I'm experiencing right now is a real shift and transformation for me. There's a lot of things that were still embedded in my soul that I didn't realize were there, still embedded in my mind that I didn't realize were there. There are things that are coming up out of me and being removed during this season. And you just happen to be a part of that journey with me. Very interesting things happening in my own personal world. My internal self is being turned out because I believe, for me personally, that I'm in a time personally of transmutation, transformation, and another level of awakening. Ultimately, we all have different beliefs about what that means, what that looks like. And I thought for me, I knew what that looked like. But I didn't realize there were things that are still embedded and ingrained in me that are being worked out. And as I'm working these out, like these downloads continue to come. And I use that term, I mean, that's been being used by a lot of different people now. And so I want to be careful not to make it sound woo-woo or anything. But because we're connected to the all. There is nothing that we're disconnected from. We have access to the divine all of the time, the divine mind, that presence that is the direct source from which we all come to be. We all have access to it at all times. So it's always moving. The difference is the level of our listening, the level of our connection. And I'm leveling up, not really in a way that I thought I would. And so it's a little puzzling for me, even though I know, I can feel within my soul that this is transformational. It's still uncomfortable and a little strange, honestly. Last week we talked about, actually this week too, you are created by God. You're creative like God. You can create as a God because you are divine. And I've mentioned to you many, many times, I know I've mentioned this to you, and it's becoming very real to me, that energy that we have to create, our creativity, is a neutral power. In other words, you can use it or you can abuse it. I can use it or I can abuse it. I am able to manifest good things and not so good things because that power is neutral. So what I'm speaking to is the awareness, so that we come into the awareness of the power that we have within us, that brilliance, that divine light that's within us, that God factor that's within us, so that we can start to utilize it for the highest good of our own life and those around us, and the highest good of the world. So I'm asking us to constantly make this personal, because I really believe that the biggest lie that has been propagated on humanity is that you are disconnected or separate from the divine source from which we all came to be. And we heard this yesterday. We were at the Friends and Family Pride event in St. Pete. And we were privileged enough to have front row tickets to some preachers who actually were quite shocking to me. I have experienced the vitriol and the anger and the hellfire and brimstone. I grew up around that. But this was another level that I can't tell you I remember ever hearing in public. The kind of things that they were saying, directly looking at people and calling them filthy, no good sinners, like using those words. Looking at little children who were 8, 9, 10 years old and actually saying to them while their parent was standing there, your parent hates you your dad, your mom, whoever was standing there with them, they hate you. Otherwise, they wouldn't have you here. Saying to children, your parents are pedophiles. Your parents are sexually perverse people. Your parents are evil. While the parents standing there, directly to the children. And the level of anger and vitriol reminded me, it was a great contrast, reminded me of how blessed it is to not be a part of that system anymore. But it also reminded me, as I pondered on it for the rest of the day, because I get a little hot under the collar when people are using the Bible and using God to beat people up. And that's what they were doing. But they were doing what they had been indoctrinated and programmed to do. And so it let me know in a very clear and really a powerful way, a contrasting way, how grateful, it reminded me of how grateful I am to be free from that system. But also it reminded me of how important this message is, that you are divine, that you're not separate. See, that system requires, and this is what they said, it requires that you bow your knee in subjugation to their version of Jesus, and that you bow your knee to their version of God, or else. They don't realize how abused they are. They don't realize how acclimated to an abusive relationship they are, because no one has really told them, I don't think, how powerful they are. So make this personal again today. We did this Wednesday night. I'm asking us to do it again today. I am created by God. I am creative like God, and I choose to create as a God. And I want to go back through just a little bit of what I shared on Wednesday night to go back over this, because I think it's important for us to, even though you may have heard some of these things before, I think it's important for us to bring these things to the front of mind, that right now what's happening in the world is we are at a pivotal inflection point where we're going to make some decisions. We're going to decide to go with the chaos and the confusion, the craziness, the divisiveness, the battle, the war, or we're going to press into the truth of who we are, press into our peace, and actually begin to affect real consciousness change on the planet. You are not merely meant to exist. You are encoded with divinity. Now, I know that I repeat this. It sounds like a broken record, but it's not. There's a reason, because the record of things that you've heard, the repeat record that you've heard over and over again, quite possibly since you were just a very small child, is what you don't have. You're separate. You're not worthy. You need this or you need that in order to be. So I want to be on repeat, because that's a hypnosis. It's a practice of hypnosis that many of us have experienced. I want to repeat things like, you are not merely meant to exist. You are encoded with divinity. You came here loaded and coded with the divine nature inside of you. The signature of God is on every cell of your body. You have within you 50 trillion cells, and each one is signed by the divine. In fact, repeat that if you will, or put it in the comments. Every cell in my body has been signed by the divine. Come on. Every cell in my body has been signed by the divine. And see, this is why you already are significant. So many people are running around from this group to that group. Drugs, alcohol, sex. I know of what I speak, friends. Drugs, alcohol, sex, religion, politics, this group, that group, so that you can feel like you belong. And you can feel significant, but your significance. Now look at the word significance. In the word significance is signature. You don't need to search outside of you for your significance. Your search for significance stops when you recognize that the signature of the divine is already on your life. Every cell in your body is essentially the Holy of Holies, waiting to enfold and unfold. When you awaken to that significance, when you awaken to that signature, your search for significance, especially outside of you, stops. You are a divine soul, and you're animating a human body. You're not just a consumer or a citizen. You're not just a reactor, as we've said on repeat. You are a conductor of source energy. That energy is flowing to you, for you, and then ultimately through you and shows up as you. And I've had this on repeat because the first part of our year, we talked a lot about manifestation and manifesting the life you want. And some people feel frustrated about, I've done the vision board, I've done the visualization, I've sat in meditation and I've visualized and I've imagined the life that I want. Why is it not coming to me? Do I need to become a better person? Do I need to have better affirmations? Do I need to quote more sacred scriptures? Do I need to have the right holy writ? Do I need to become better at my fashionable vision boarding? The universe is actually not waiting for us to become anything other than a vibrational match for the abundance that's here to flow into our life. It's time for us to stop looking for signs and instead become the signal. Can you hear that this morning? It's time for us to stop looking for signs and instead become the signal. Become the vibrational match of your soul's unfolding. And this happens through aligning with your true nature. This happens with aligning with your true nature, which is divine. Type into the comments, I am divine naturally. And then type into the comments, I am a human divinity. You are divine in human form. Now, one of the powerful ways we talked about doing this was to sit in the feeling of a wish fulfilled. Neville Goddard taught this, Wayne Dyer taught this, Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and Anita Marjane, all of them are teaching this. Louise Hay taught this, sitting in a wish fulfilled. But I believe we're finally starting to embody that truth. See, this is what it means to embody it. Within the body, feel the truth of your divine nature. And then waking up to this shifts everything. Your body, your mindset, your perception of life, your perception of careers, relationships, money, health, government, politics, wealth, religion, spirituality even. When the third eye starts to open and the whole being becomes filled with light, the light of truth, the truth of the universe starts to enfold and unfold in your life. And it comes to you in the form of consciousness data, which looks like light. This is how information floods through fiber in our world. It floods through the fiber as light. And as soon as I begin to connect with this, it's retroactive. It's as if the time that I thought I missed all gets encapsulated into this present moment. As that light opens up and I begin to walk in my divine nature. Your perception changes. You become more clear about who you really are. You begin to discern very clearly, but you lose judgment. You let go of judgment because you realize that all is one. But I've said to us, awareness is not enough. I need to choose to unlearn the ingrained things in my mind. As I've mentioned to you, that's what's happening to me currently. And at times, it's a little daunting, uncomfortable. But I'm dismantling my false identities. I'm challenging the noise in my mind. I'm healing the mind disease of unworthiness and didn't realize that there's still some things there that are ingrained in unworthiness and come up out as behavior. When you know you're worthy, you stop trying to seek out external validation through various ways. And I'm learning that. There's still parts of me that was told all of my life how unworthy I was, how much of a sinner I was, and that I was in need of a Savior. And that Savior, of course, was always outside of me. See, this is when I wake up to this truth, the truth shall make you free. It doesn't just set you free, which is to unlock the cell door, but it makes you free. It causes you to embody freedom and liberation. And this is where your journey begins, realizing that the system was never built to liberate you. The systems around us were actually built counting on you being content in your beautifully decorated prison cell. It was counting on you being content with your incarceration. But now we're beginning to make conscious contact with the truth of who we are. And this is where I wanted to get to today. And I'm going to get through as much of this as I can. But this is where I wanted to get to today because I love Jesus. Contrary to what people may tell you, I love Jesus. But I also know that Jesus was much more of a mystic than the church has given credence to. Jesus was a person of mystery. And he was a mystic during his time. So let's look at Jesus and the pineal gland. Now, I know that there's some people who have studied this more at length than I have, but I do know that I'm starting to receive revelation and understand this. In Matthew 6:22, Jesus says, if your eye be single, your whole being will be filled with light. Notice that he doesn't say if your eyes are single. So he is not speaking to physical eyes. He's not talking about the sense of sight in our physical world. He's not talking about the physical eyes. He is speaking to the third eye, or what I call the primary eye, but he's really talking about this is the eye, but the optic nerve for the eye is in the pineal gland. See, Jesus spoke of our body as the temple of God, but he knew at the center of us is an altar. And that at that altar, there can become an alteration of our sight. And our insight is always more important than our eyesight. What I'm seeing outwardly matters far less than what I am seeing inwardly. Into me, see, is the intimacy that I have with the divine nature that is on the inside of me. Jesus spoke of the body as the temple. And he spoke of insight through the primary sight, which is not in these eyes. And so I'm saying to us, wipe the sleep out of your eye, but decalcify this pineal gland. Now, I don't want to get into a lot of conspiracy theories, but the truth is that for generations, for at least 100 years, probably a little more, there are those who have known, whether they were knowing this through the darkness or knowing this through science, that the pineal gland, when it is operating correctly, is not just releasing melatonin for sleep. It's not just helping with the biological function of the body. That the pineal gland is actually that optic nerve which causes the third eye to become clear so that you can see beyond the illusion and the delusion that is in the world. And so when the scriptures would talk about Jesus going and fasting and praying, I would say to us that these things that we need to see during this season are not going to come through any other avenue but fasting and praying. But we need to learn how to fast and pray as Jesus did. He was not just talking about renunciation. He was not talking about body punishment. Jesus was not fasting in terms of just not eating food. I believe Jesus was talking about fasting the senses and living from our concepts of the sense mind, moving from sensation consciousness to spiritual consciousness. In other words, not just trusting what we are feeling in terms of our five senses, but moving into that, quite possibly that sixth sense, or seven, maybe eight, who knows what level of dimension we can go to. He was talking about moving beyond the eyesight to the primary sight, which comes from the spiritual eye. Now, see, to some, this may sound like conspiracy. To some, it may be that we think this is going too far. But ancient cultures understood the significance of this third eye. They understood that this was a significant way of seeing into the spiritual world. It was about awareness. It was about understanding deeper truths. It was about looking into the cloud of the mystery and being able to see clearly and being able to see beyond the chaos that's going on in our world. But this part of us is under attack. It has been for generations. The ancient cultures, they were tapping into awareness thousands of years ago, but something happened. Something stopped the practice of opening up the third eye. And now we receive common substances into our bodies that they're saying, according to science, actually calcify this third eye: fluoride, glyphosate, microplastics, heavy metals. They've been shown to accumulate in the pineal gland and essentially calcify it. And it is believed that this begins to dumb down our perception. Now, whether it's intentional or it's just as a result of convenience, whatever it may be, it still has been happening, and it's compromising our awareness. It's keeping us from remaining connected, being connected to the deeper truths. And this is keeping our insight dim so that our eyesight becomes the dominant. And then we begin to see all of the craziness around the world. You may think that you're making independent choices, but many of the choices that we're making were engineered by the world around us for us to just be sheep, walking about, following the program. But beneath the layers of the program, you still know there's something in you that knows there's more to this reality. That's why you feel drawn to spiritual communities like this one. That's why you have gone through the breakup and the divorce from religion, because the truth is setting you free. And that pineal gland is whispering to you, reminding you of its potential and therefore your potential. It's inviting you to see beyond the current state of affairs, to see past the chaos and the barrage of information. It's asking you to look into the field and find the divine vision for your life, which is abundance and well-being and love and joy and peace and radical oneness, as we've talked about since the beginning of the year. This is a reclaiming of your power. And the reclaiming of your power is to eliminate those harmful substances that are causing you to go to sleep and keeping you under a program. See, awakening may not be easy, but it is essential to break free from the confines of this manipulating system. The struggle isn't just about societal control. It's really a spiritual battle with forces that thrive on fear, confusion, division. Most people go through life unaware of this war, essentially giving up by not showing up. But your awareness is one of the most important keys to your liberation from this battle. Because your awareness brings you into this conscious state of knowing that there actually is no battle, that the only battle that you face is the illusion that there is one. It's the illusion that there is an us and them. It's an illusion that in some way there's something in us that needs to be conquered. Nothing in you needs to be conquered. You just need to become aware of the truth of who you are. And when you become aware of your human divinity, when you awaken to the consciousness, to the truth of who you are, that begins to unfold health and healing and well-being and that ultimate connection that's within you. Consciousness is so much more than we've thought. You've been told that consciousness is just neurons firing off in the brain, but consciousness isn't just local. Consciousness is flowing everywhere all of the time and in everything. It's not a product of your biology. It's the source of your biology. That consciousness that is within you, that's eternally a part of you, and you're a part of it. We're waking up and we're simply coming into alignment with the truth of who we are. We are being born again so that we can see the kingdom of God that is within us, the power, the queendom, the authority of God, the divine presence that's within us. We don't have to leave this body to reach heaven out there. I kept hearing these guys yesterday talk about telling just about everybody they could get to listen to them, that you're going to hell if you don't obey Jesus and start reading the Bible the way we read the Bible, you're going to go to hell. They actually said that. It wasn't implied. It was not implicit. It was explicit. They said, if you don't read the Bible the way we read the Bible, if you don't understand the Bible, this is the Word of God the way we do, you're going to go to hell. And I want you to go to heaven. There was something there. It's a sales ploy that says, I have your heaven. Nobody else has your heaven. Heaven comes to earth for you when you unfold the truth of who you are. We just need to adjust our dial to tune it in. There's nowhere to go. It's just a matter of aligning with the truth. Through the chakra system, we get it cleared out. We become constant we become connected to that constant flow of divine presence. And it's a free flow of divine inspiration and information that's always coming to us. It's like a radio station. It can either tune in a clear signal of the divine voice, or it can tune in interference. And it has been in many ways. The low vibrational entities are feeding off of your human emotions, especially fear, especially shame and guilt and unworthiness and this sense of division and disconnection. They're not trying to possess you like Hollywood movies say. There's no possession going on here, not even like the Christian theology says. The system simply wants you to remain fragmented, because when you're fragmented, you believe that you're disconnected. It wants to keep you separated from the whole in your heart and in your mind. It thrives on us and them. I had to remind myself yesterday, as these abusive people guising as preachers, they're abusive people pretending as preachers. I had to remind myself they are a part of me too. As angry as I could become at times with the way they were speaking to people with their hatred and anger and vitriol, I needed to remind myself to not get lost in the us and them mentality. Because when you're disconnected from your divine self, when you're caught in the loops of anger and chaos and judgment and fear and overthinking, you're leaking your energy. And that's what the system is feeding on, your energy. And when you're leaking your divine energy, you're losing your fuel for building your life. This is the creative fuel you need to build the life that you want and to help build a new world. So how does the system keep you in this state of leaking your energy? Well, the media floods your senses constantly with tragedy, with conflict, with division, with rage. And it's not to inform you, but it's to entrain your mind to chaos. That is the whole purpose of it. Even the ancient Hebrew scriptures say God is not the author of confusion or chaos. Where you see that chaos, it's a sign that there's an attempted programming happening. Remember, evil is simply that which keeps you from your divine nature, your divinity. So anything that is keeping you separate from your divine nature, which is love, joy, and peace, and all of the wonderful things, when that nature is being challenged, there's programming happening. Religion preaches fear through damnation, or the fear of damnation, while promising you salvation from the God outside of yourself. We saw this in plain sight yesterday. But what's gotten those individuals to the state of where they are is deep programming and indoctrination. And they believe this stuff. They spout it. It's on a loop. They have been hypnotized into believing that they are separate from gay, lesbian, transgender people. But the Q plus community is not separate from us. They never have been. They're not vile and evil and perverse. Even the statistics they spouted yesterday are not true. They're not facts. They're programmed ideas to keep you separate from people who are loving and wonderful and great, just like you. Our education system, though, punishes imagination and rewards memorization. The religious system does the same. It punishes and beats down imagination and creativity, but it absolutely rewards memorization. These structures, they weren't hijacked, they were created. They were built as control mechanisms. They were built as gateways for energetic parasitism. What does that mean? Parasites, to pull off your energy, to keep you from knowing who you truly are. But here's the thing. We are all not victims of circumstances. We are alchemists. We are alchemists. We are those who can create. We have creative power. We are not victims of our environment or our circumstances. We are victorious. You do not have to be a victim of the Newtonian science of life and worldview, which is basically the same worldview as what was called by the Gnostics archons. The archon worldview basically says that there are pseudo powers that control the material world and imprison the divine spark of human souls. And an archon is one, an archonic philosophy is one that says everything is predetermined and you just have to try to assimilate and survive it. In other words, you're a victim of the circumstances or the world. That's one of the biggest lies imposed on humanity. You are not a victim. You are victorious. You are powerful. You are great. You are an alchemist, somebody who can create. These pseudo powers and rulers have no power over you except what you give to them. Just like your thoughts. Stop believing every thought that comes, because your thoughts don't have power until you inject your power in it. You're an alchemist. You're a powerfully divine and creative being, imaginative, innovative. You hold within you the best kept secret, and that is the divine presence. But that secret is out, and it's gaining volume. We continue to talk about it. We're going to talk about it over and over and over again. If you don't like that, you might want to find somewhere else to go, because there's nothing more important for us right now or ever than recognizing our divine nature, recognizing our connection to the all, recognizing that we are God in human form. Or as Ram Dass would say, it's perfect for Pride Month, we're all God in drag. Who was it, RuPaul, that said, everyone is born naked and the rest is drag? We are alchemists, and we're in the process of alchemizing, creating, reimagining, and then creating a new world. So I wrote this poem. I'm going to share this poem with you. It's my first shot at this, but I'm a songwriter and I love words. So this is what flowed out of me, and actually what caused me to want to talk about this morning. And then I'm going to close. I realize how much time I've taken. Hopefully you're okay. My poem about alchemy says this. In a world where the mundane can become divine, alchemy's heart beats with a mystic sign. Where base metals dream of a golden hue, and souls are forged in a transformative view. With lead as a vessel and divine fire as the spark, the alchemist seeks to leave their own mark. A crucible of knowledge, a cauldron of art, to transmute the self and play a different part. From the ashes of doubt, a phoenix takes flight, unleashing potential with all of its inner might. The philosopher's stone, a beacon so bright, ignites the spirit and leads to pure loving light. Through trials and tests, the journey unfolds, a story of courage in stories of old. With Mercury's dance and sulfur's embrace, a quest for perfection time cannot erase. So let the transformation begin in the heart of the alchemist. Let the true self win. A tapestry of change, a masterpiece grand, alchemy's embrace, forever to stand. You see, the Archon's philosophy does not rule. You're not a victim of Newtonian science or Newtonian science worldview. You're not a victim of your environment or your circumstance. You are a creative and a powerful being. Created, here it is, by God, creative like God. You can create as a God. You are divine. And one more time, pat yourself on the chest and say, I am created by God, creative like God, and I choose to create as a God. And so it is. And so it is. All right, friends, thank you for allowing me to just be me and to do something a little different than I had even planned on doing. Thank you for traveling on this journey with me. We continue to unfold the truth of who we are. Carl Jung would have called this individuation, really finding our true self. Jesus basically says that this is what it means to be born again, so that you see. The eye be single, the whole being is filled with light. And here's the thing that it leads to. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the heart or the mind of the man or the woman what God has in store for those who love him or her, depending on you. When you recognize and you become in love with your true self, you will individuate that, and you will see unfold before you all that God has in store for you. I want to say thank you for supporting this ministry now as much as ever financially. If you believe in what we're doing, you believe in this vision, if you believe that we're shedding light on the world and that we're bringing love, joy, and peace into the world, please consider being a sustaining partner. And not just giving today, but sustaining on a regular basis. The ways to give are going to be coming up on the screen. I'm going to share that with you as we move toward the completion of this service. I love you, my friends. Now go and make it a great day because you can. Peace. Hey, family. Thank you for joining us today for our telecast. And thank you for being a sustaining partner with First Unity Spiritual Campus. The number one way to give is to text to give, 833-691-6105. And you can text the word give. Number two, the First Unity app, and then tap that yellow heart. And number three, go to firstunity.org/give. And this also gives you the option to have a subscription giving, which is automatic each month. That means you can budget it into your monthly budget and not even have to think about it. It comes out automatically. The fourth way to give is to mail to P.O. Box 13293, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33733. The number five way to give is through Cash App. That's right, through Cash App, $First Unity, SC. $First Unity, SC. Also, you can use the QR code that is on the screen right now. You can scan that code and be taken to our safe and secure website for your giving. Once again, allow me to say thank you so much for being a sustaining partner with this ministry of love. Have a wonderful day. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. And our prayer of protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is, so it is. I love you. Make it a great week just because you can.